For years, BlackBerry ruled the mobile world, but today its name survives mostly as a forgotten chapter in technology history. Before iPhones and Android devices transformed communication, millions believed this tiny keyboard represented the future of business and personal productivity. Government leaders, Fortune 500 executives, celebrities, and presidents depended on BlackBerry every single day to stay connected securely. Receiving an email instantly on your phone once felt almost magical, and BlackBerry made that experience possible before anyone else. By the mid-2000s, BlackBerry had become one of the world's fastest-growing technology companies, admired for innovation, security, and reliability.
Owning a BlackBerry wasn't simply practical. It became a symbol of professionalism, ambition, and modern success around the world.
Yet within only a few years, the company that once dominated smartphones almost completely disappeared from the consumer market. How could the world's smartest phone become one of history's greatest technology failures almost overnight? The story began in Waterloo, Canada, where two ambitious engineering students believed wireless communication would eventually change the entire world. In 1984, Mike Lazaridis and Douglas Fregan founded Research in Motion, unknowingly beginning one of technology's most remarkable success stories. Unlike many technology startups, Research in Motion focused first on wireless data instead of personal computers, believing mobile communication had limitless potential. The company's earliest products weren't smartphones at all, but wireless communication systems designed for specialized business and industrial applications. Every successful prototype strengthened the founders' belief that wireless technology would eventually become an essential part of everyday life. While competitors chased desktop computers, Research in Motion quietly mastered technologies that allowed information to travel securely through wireless networks. Their vision was surprisingly simple. Important information should reach people instantly, no matter where they happen to be. At a time when pagers dominated business communication, the company recognized a much bigger opportunity waiting beyond simple messaging devices. Instead of creating fashionable gadgets, every design decision prioritized reliability, battery life, efficiency, and secure communication above everything else. That engineering-first culture became Research in Motion's greatest strength, shaping every product the company would later introduce to the world. As wireless networks slowly expanded across North America, the company realized its biggest opportunity was finally beginning to arrive. Within only a few years, those ambitious experiments would evolve into a device that completely transformed mobile communication forever. In 1999, Research in Motion introduced the first BlackBerry device, marking the beginning of a completely new era in mobile communication. Although it looked simple, its greatest innovation wasn't the hardware, but the ability to receive messages instantly, without waiting. For busy professionals, information no longer stayed inside the office, because important messages could now travel almost anywhere with them. Behind every successful message stood an advanced network infrastructure designed to deliver secure communication quickly and reliably.
Then came the breakthrough that changed everything forever. Push email, delivering messages automatically the moment they arrived.
Instead of manually checking for new emails, BlackBerry quietly delivered every message directly into users' hands within seconds. The famous physical keyboard made writing long emails surprisingly comfortable, encouraging professionals to work efficiently from almost anywhere. Business travelers quickly embraced BlackBerry because staying connected no longer depended on returning to an office computer. Technology journalists praised BlackBerry as one of the most important communication breakthroughs since the arrival of the mobile phone itself. Within only a few years, BlackBerry had transformed from an ambitious startup into one of the technology industry's fastest-rising companies. By the mid-2000s, BlackBerry had become the undisputed leader in mobile business communication across much of the corporate world. Owning a BlackBerry quickly became a symbol of professionalism, success, and constant productivity among executives and business leaders. Government agencies also trusted BlackBerry because its secure communication system protected sensitive conversations better than competing mobile devices.
Its reputation for security became one of BlackBerry's greatest competitive advantages, earning trust from governments and multinational corporations alike.
Whether inside airports, hotels, or boardrooms, BlackBerry kept professionals connected wherever business demanded their attention. Sales continued climbing rapidly as businesses around the world standardized BlackBerry devices for their employees and executives.
Every new BlackBerry model refined its famous keyboard, stronger security, longer battery life, and reliable communication experience.
For many professionals,
Checking a BlackBerry became as routine as reading the morning newspaper or answering the office telephone.
From corporate boardrooms to government offices, BlackBerry quietly became one of the world's most influential technology brands.
Everything suggested BlackBerry's remarkable success would continue for decades, but history was already preparing an unexpected turning point. By 2006, BlackBerry dominated the business smartphone market and had become one of the most respected technology brands worldwide.
Its devices earned a reputation for reliability, exceptional battery life, unmatched security, and an incredibly satisfying typing experience.
Companies trusted BlackBerry because employees could securely communicate from almost anywhere without sacrificing productivity or confidential business information. Investors rewarded the company with rising confidence as BlackBerry's sales and global influence continued growing at an extraordinary pace.
Business professionals no longer viewed BlackBerry as a luxury device because it had become an essential tool for everyday work.
Research in Motion continued hiring talented engineers, expanding operations, and investing heavily in the future of secure mobile communication. Inside the laboratories, engineers believed they were building the next generation of mobile technology for an increasingly connected world.
Industry experts praised the company as an innovation leader that competitors would struggle to challenge for many years. Everything pointed toward an even brighter future, and few imagined BlackBerry's dominance could ever be seriously threatened. Then, in January 2007, a single product announcement quietly changed the future of the entire smartphone industry forever.
On January 9, 2007, the smartphone industry changed forever when Apple introduced the first iPhone to the world.
Unlike every smartphone before it, the iPhone replaced tiny physical keys with a large touchscreen designed entirely around software. To many BlackBerry executives, the device appeared impractical because they believed serious professionals would always prefer physical keyboards. Company leadership underestimated how quickly consumer expectations were about to shift toward larger displays and touch-based experiences. BlackBerry's engineers recognized the industry's direction, but changing years of successful product design would not happen overnight. Management believed BlackBerry's loyal business customers would remain faithful because security and productivity still mattered more than entertainment. The company focused on protecting its existing market while consumer preferences quietly evolved in an entirely different direction. For the first time, software experience became just as important as hardware, and the market's priorities rapidly began changing. Touchscreens offered limitless possibilities because software could transform every button without changing the physical device itself. Without realizing it, BlackBerry had entered the most dangerous chapter of its history, where every delayed decision would become increasingly expensive. As BlackBerry watched Apple closely, another competitor quietly entered the market and changed the industry's future forever.
Google introduced Android as an open operating system, allowing many manufacturers to build smartphones using the same software platform.
Unlike BlackBerry, Android wasn't limited to one company because dozens of manufacturers could innovate and compete simultaneously. Consumers suddenly had more choices than ever before, and competition accelerated faster than BlackBerry had expected. The next revolution wasn't hardware alone, because software applications quickly became the most important reason people chose new smartphones.
Developers rushed toward platforms with larger audiences, creating thousands of applications that expanded smartphone capabilities almost every month.
BlackBerry offered applications too, but its software ecosystem grew far more slowly than Apple's App Store and Android market.
Younger customers increasingly wanted entertainment, social media, photography, and mobile apps instead of email alone.
Warning signs became impossible to ignore as competitors gained momentum, while BlackBerry's once dominant position steadily weakened. The company understood it needed dramatic change, but catching rapidly moving competitors would become far more difficult than anyone imagined. Determined to answer Apple's growing success, BlackBerry accelerated development of its first touchscreen smartphone despite serious internal concerns. Engineers faced enormous pressure because the company needed a competitive touchscreen device before customers permanently switched to rival platforms.
When the BlackBerry Storm finally launched, expectations were incredibly high because it represented the company's most important product in years.
Unfortunately, reviewers quickly criticized its software performance, touchscreen responsiveness, and overall user experience compared with competing devices. Negative reviews spread rapidly, damaging consumer confidence at exactly the moment BlackBerry needed a convincing technological comeback.
Consumers increasingly selected smartphones offering smoother software, larger application library, and more intuitive touchscreen experiences than BlackBerry could provide.
Inside company headquarters, disappointing sales figures confirmed that BlackBerry's competitive advantage was disappearing faster than anticipated. Development teams worked tirelessly to improve future software, yet every delay allowed competitors to widen their technological lead. Public excitement increasingly surrounded rival platforms, while BlackBerry struggled to generate the same level of consumer enthusiasm and media attention.
The company's greatest challenge was no longer building excellent hardware, but adapting quickly enough to an entirely transformed smartphone industry.
By the beginning of the new decade, BlackBerry faced a difficult reality that could no longer be ignored by company leadership.
Instead of making small improvements, executives approved an ambitious strategy centered around an entirely new operating system called BlackBerry 10.
Developers hoped the redesigned platform would modernize BlackBerry while preserving its legendary security, reliability, and professional identity.
Creating an entirely new mobile platform proved far more complicated than anyone inside the company originally expected.
Every additional month of development gave Apple and Android manufacturers more opportunities to strengthen their already expanding market positions.
While BlackBerry prepared its comeback, competitors continued releasing faster devices, richer software, and stronger application ecosystems every single year.
Investors gradually lost confidence as BlackBerry's once dominant position slipped further behind its rapidly growing competitors.
When BlackBerry 10 finally arrived, reviewers praised several features but questioned whether the company had simply arrived too late.
Software looked modern, yet customers increasingly cared about application availability more than technical improvements or elegant design. Despite years of remarkable innovation, BlackBerry's opportunity to reclaim smartphone leadership was quietly slipping beyond its reach forever. Financial pressure intensified as falling smartphone sales steadily reduced the company's revenue, confidence, and ability to compete effectively. Investors who once celebrated BlackBerry's remarkable growth now questioned whether the company could survive the rapidly changing smartphone industry. Difficult restructuring efforts followed, bringing layoffs that affected thousands of talented employees across multiple departments and international offices. Many ambitious projects were delayed, redesigned, or quietly canceled as resources became increasingly limited throughout the organization. Leadership changes reflected growing urgency, but replacing executives alone could not reverse years of strategic mistakes and missed opportunities.
Consumers had already embraced powerful application ecosystems, making it increasingly difficult for BlackBerry devices to regain widespread popularity. The famous physical keyboard, once celebrated as BlackBerry's greatest strength, gradually became a niche preference instead of a global standard.
Years earlier, the campus symbolized unstoppable innovation, but now it reflected an organization fighting simply to remain competitive.
Recognizing reality, BlackBerry gradually shifted its attention away from consumer smartphones toward enterprise software, cybersecurity, and secure communications.
The era of BlackBerry smartphones was quietly coming to an end, but the company's story was far from completely finished. Rather than disappear completely, BlackBerry began rebuilding itself around technologies that remained highly respected across the enterprise world. The company's decades of experience protecting sensitive communications naturally positioned it for a growing cybersecurity industry demanding trusted digital security.
Instead of competing with consumer smartphones, BlackBerry focused on protecting governments, businesses, and critical digital infrastructure from emerging cyber threats.
Although smartphones had faded from its identity, software engineering remained at the heart of BlackBerry's long-term strategy. Many people never realized BlackBerry technology continued powering millions of vehicles through its highly reliable QNX operating system. Automobile manufacturers trusted QNX because stability and security mattered far more than flashy consumer features inside modern vehicles.
Beyond automobiles, BlackBerry's software quietly supported critical industries where dependable performance could never be compromised or interrupted.
The company gradually transformed from a famous smartphone manufacturer into a respected provider of enterprise software and cybersecurity solutions.
Although the consumer business had vanished, the BlackBerry name continued representing trust, security, and engineering excellence in professional markets. BlackBerry survived by accepting change, proving that reinvention can sometimes matter more than protecting yesterday's greatest success. Today, BlackBerry's journey is frequently studied because its success and decline offer valuable lessons for future technology leaders.
Business experts often describe BlackBerry as a reminder that market leadership can disappear faster than anyone expects.
The company proved that remarkable innovation alone cannot guarantee long-term success without adapting to changing customer expectations.
Its competitors succeeded not because they copied BlackBerry, but because they completely reimagined what smartphones could eventually become. Today, original BlackBerry devices represent an important chapter in the evolution of modern mobile communication, rather than forgotten electronic products.
The famous physical keyboard remains one of the most recognizable designs ever created in the history of mobile technology. Behind every BlackBerry device stood talented engineers whose innovations helped shape secure wireless communication for future generations. Even after leaving the smartphone spotlight, BlackBerry continued contributing quietly to technologies that millions still depend on every day. A story that began in a small Canadian city ultimately transformed global communication before teaching one of business history's greatest lessons. BlackBerry's greatest legacy is not the phones it sold, but the innovations that permanently changed how the world communicates. BlackBerry's journey reminds innovators that today's breakthrough can quickly become tomorrow's forgotten standard without continuous adaptation and bold leadership. Countless startup founders now study BlackBerry because understanding failure can be just as valuable as celebrating remarkable success. Technology constantly evolves, but customer expectations often change even faster than companies are prepared to recognize. Products that once seemed revolutionary can eventually appear ordinary when innovation continues moving forward without hesitation.
Millions now communicate effortlessly because pioneers like BlackBerry helped establish the foundations of today's connected digital world. Although its market dominance disappeared, BlackBerry earned a permanent place within the history of global technology innovation.
Its engineers solved problems that many larger competitors believed impossible during the early years of wireless communication.
Every generation inherits technologies built upon countless innovations created by companies whose names slowly fade from public memory.
Few people visiting Waterloo today realize this quiet Canadian city once stood at the center of a global mobile revolution. Even today, many longtime users still remember the unmistakable feeling of typing confidently across those iconic physical keys.
BlackBerry's story proves that even industry leaders cannot rely forever on yesterday's greatest innovations or past achievements.
Successful companies must constantly reinvent themselves because customer expectations evolve much faster than technology itself ever appears to change.
The greatest threat to market leaders rarely comes from familiar competitors, but from entirely different ways of solving old problems.
Innovation requires more than brilliant engineering, because understanding future customer behavior often matters just as much as technical excellence. The mobile world surrounding us today still carries countless ideas first explored by companies like BlackBerry decades earlier. Although its smartphones disappeared, BlackBerry continues protecting digital infrastructure through enterprise security technologies trusted across many critical industries. Its software quietly supports technologies that millions depend upon daily, without ever noticing the company's continuing influence behind the scenes. Few technology companies experience such extraordinary success before facing one of the industry's most dramatic and unforgettable declines. Its headquarters still stands as a powerful reminder that innovation alone cannot guarantee lasting leadership in a constantly changing world.
Yet BlackBerry's true legacy will always be measured by the technologies it inspired, rather than the products it eventually lost.
BlackBerry may have lost the smartphone race, but its influence still lives inside the connected world we use every single day. History rarely remembers only winners, because every technological revolution is built upon the achievements and mistakes of those who came before. The smartphone industry changed forever, yet BlackBerry's pioneering innovations helped create the future its competitors ultimately perfected. Its remarkable journey reminds every innovator that success belongs only to companies willing to reinvent themselves before the market demands change. BlackBerry's rise and fall remains one of the most fascinating stories ever written in the history of modern technology. Some companies build great products, but only a few leave behind lessons that continue shaping future generations of innovators. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe for more untold stories about legendary companies that changed technology forever. Next, We'll uncover how Kodak invented the future of digital photography, then somehow lost the very industry it helped create. Until then, thank you for watching. I'll see you in our next documentary, where we'll uncover the incredible rise and shocking fall of Kodak.